Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Show Me 50 Lean In Circle meeting. We are Show Me 50 Metro Atlanta, part of the Lean In program. We've got some great guests today and a great program. Negotiate your value. This is part two. Role playing. So back by popular demand, we've got Sarah Sigra and also Suzanne Swan is joining us to talk about Show Me 50 Lean In Circles. So let's go ahead and get started. Quick recap on what Show Me 50 is. You see the slide here. We're all about providing the motivation and the ability around 4 solutions that are known to make workplaces more of a level playing field for women. We work with Lean In, and we together have the powerful solution to get to 50%. With that, I want to turn it over to Suzanne, who is a Show Me 50 Lean In Network leader. Suzanne, take it away and tell us a little bit about what we're trying to do this year.
Hi, everyone. Like Elba said, I'm Suzanne, and I am a Show Me 50 volunteer, and we're looking for a few volunteers to lead your own circle. So this is an opportunity for you to practice your leadership skills and mentor and support other women. So we'll be able to leverage the benefits of the Show Me 50 network with this. You'll be able to advertise on the Show Me 50 listserv, get some support for your monthly meetings, and also some other benefits as well. It does require a 1-year commitment. And so if you're interested in this opportunity, please reach out to me. Here's my email, suzanne.swan@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. And hey, we're also going to be working on some really special events coming up. We're going to do a virtual and then probably an in-person one here locally. So stay tuned for more of that exciting growth. Okay, well, with that, I am going to now turn it over to our guest of honor, Sarah Peck. She is a master recruiter and negotiator. And we heard from her last month. And if you didn't see that session, part 1, please do go to the go to the Show Me 50 website, and you'll be able to find a replay of that workshop. So Sarah, let's spend the next 6 minutes recapping some key points before we get into the role play, which Sigra will give us instructions for. Take it away, Sarah.
So thank you, Elba. So for those of you who are joining us right now from all over the world, something really exciting and crazy and very, very scary for heads of talent acquisition like myself is happening. And it's called the Great Resignation. And statistics show that in the US, 1 in 4 people surveyed were looking at switching jobs this year. Part of that process is negotiating. A big part about staying at your current job, if you are thinking about making moves, is negotiating for a raise. And so there are a couple of things you really need to do. Just quick recap, keep a brag sheet. Keep a 1 sheet of all of your accomplishments, everything you've done above and beyond your job description, anything you've done within your job description that's gone particularly well. You're going to be really proactive about scheduling performance conversations. You're going to present a solid case, and then you're going to accept the result with grace. Above all else, you must have a BATNA. That's a best alternative to a negotiated agreement. And essentially what the BATNA is your fallback point. So I recently asked for a raise from my boss, asked for a raise for my team. I was told no. I now have to look at my options. What are my options? Do I look for another job? Do I look for other ways to grow within my field without maybe the additional, the additional pay? You have to have a backup plan. So that's called a BATNA. And then, of course, with the results, accept with grace. Don't make it personal. And then always, always, always schedule a follow-up conversation. When's the next time I can ask? What do I need to accomplish before that? Elba, do you want to pull up the next slide?
Yes. Sarah, I wanted to make one comment before the presentation. We were chatting, and I find that the fastest way to increase your responsibility and your pay is to change companies. When you are not being supported and you're not looking at your pay and advancement where you think you should be, know your value and know that you can find other opportunities. Go ahead, Sarah.
100%, Elba. Yeah. And so let's say you asked for the raise, you got shot down. Maybe there aren't other avenues of growth. Maybe there aren't other ways of working within your particular role at your particular company. So what do? You're going to look for a new position, or maybe you're fresh out of college or high school and you're also looking for a new position. There are a couple things you really need to focus on. Do your research. Salary.com, payscale.com, Indeed.com, LinkedIn, Glassdoor. These are all places where salary information is published. I know there's starting to be a movement within the United States about publishing job pay ranges. I know Colorado was the first state to enact it, to where they are required by law to state the pay ranges. So pay is becoming more and more and more transparent. It's something people are going to talk about. You can LinkedIn network and find people who will be willing to discuss what their pay looks like. So establish a baseline, know your range, ask for the top of the range, ask for a specific number. I want 65,500. It is so much easier to hold to that number if it's something very, very specific. If you give a range, they're automatically going to the bottom of the range. I do it as a hiring manager. You just know that's what you can get them for, and you're not going to spend $1 more. And then knowing your options. Once again, BATNA, you've got to have multiple offers. You've got to be talking to multiple companies. You've got to have a backup plan for your backup plan. Next slide.
And the other thing I'll add is, don't be afraid to ask for more. Those who ask for more get more. If you don't ask, you're definitely not going to get more. So go to that high range. You can't lose anything.
Yes, so this slide goes over, there's a list of the different websites where you can go to get salary comparison information. You'll be able to connect with other professionals on LinkedIn, get their information, talk to people at the company, do your research, make sure, because it's above and beyond pay, we're also talking about benefits, we're talking about equity, we're talking about stock options, we're talking about healthcare. All of these different things, they're all part of the package. Time off, flexibility. Maybe you're a single parent and what you really need is to be off at 2:30 every day to go pick up your kids. Well, I mean, that might be what you negotiate for. So we talk about salary, but there's really so much more to it. And salary may not be what drives you. Salary may be something that is important, but secondary to some of these other things. And be able, maybe if they're stuck at a certain dollar amount, you can move around some things like work from home or extra PTO, things like that. And Elba, I can tell you're just dying to say something. You've got something to add, yes?
No, I don't. I'm just listening going, oh, there's so much good information. I will just say that we're in a new time when, because of COVID, companies recognize flexibility is not only wanted, but it's possible, right? So even though companies are making employees go back to work, just keep in mind that we still have a little leverage because it worked, right? So don't be afraid to ask for flexibility, especially on days that things come up. Just, ask for that flexibility. Yeah. Okay. Any closing remarks, Sarah, before we move on to the—
Ma'am, that's kind of setting us up for our negotiation practice. Just everybody keep in mind, this is practice. This is not perfect. You're just getting it out there and getting used to saying the words.
That's right. Just saying the words. So next up, Sigra is going to walk us through instructions of how we're going to do this role play. And again, to follow what Sarah said, we just want you to talk, say the words, okay? So don't be afraid, you're gonna be in small groups. So Sigra, thank you for number one, for being a volunteer. To everybody out there, this is an example of a win-win where Sigra, who's working far away over the pond in the UK, reached out to us and she helped us put this together. So thanks, Sigra, and take it away on our instructions.
Thank you, Alba, Sarah. It was my pleasure. The idea was that when we had the part one of the session, that one of the comments was, can we have it as a workshop? And that's where this is coming from. As Elba mentioned, this should be a safe space for you to discuss and speak and practice negotiation. The audience will be divided into groups of 4, and amongst these, you will be forming 2 pairs. The pair A will be acting as employee and manager and negotiating for a career discussion where you want a promotion, right? And the pair B will be acting as a candidate and recruiter where you're negotiating salary for a new job. While the pair A is role playing, pair B will be observing, and while pair B is role playing, pair A will be observing, so that we can learn from each other, how things are going. The scenario details, Elba, if you can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. The scenario details are here. You have been given some background information to start with. So once you've introduced yourself, form the pairs. Each pair can go through this. The instructions will also be posted in the chat. So important thing is for you to understand, take a minute to go through these, right? Set the role, set the expectations, use the tools which have been shared by Sarah today as well, and then just have a go at it. It's okay if you fumble. It's okay if you want to take a breath. Just get it out there, speak the words, get a feel of the negotiation, and have fun.
So what we're going to do is we're going to review this a little bit to make sure everybody is ready to go. And I'm going to try to divide the rooms into 4 each, but some of them, we have 37 participants. It may not be 4 each. So just, we'll work with what we have in each room. But again, the scenarios here are pair A is going to be an employee and a manager. And I think, Sigra, were you able to copy this into the chat?
I'm trying to right now.
No problem.
Yeah.
So while she's working on copying into the chat, I'll just review it with you. So when you get into your rooms, you decide who's going to be pair A and who's going to be pair B. Pair A is going to be an employee and a manager situation, and you're going to be negotiating through a career discussion of why you should be considered for a promotion. And so Sigra gave some situational items here, right? You're going to be moving from a local to a regional role. You've been 3 years in your current role. You've received no raise at the time, even though you've gotten more responsibility. You've done your external market research and you found out that the current highest salary is 20% more for the same kind of work you're doing. And it's 35% more for the regional role. So that's kind of like what Sarah was telling us, kind of do your homework, right? And know your ranges. So in that first pair A, you're going to be deciding that you want to negotiate for a promotion. Pair B is going to be a candidate and a recruiter role. And here you're negotiating with somebody outside of your company. And again, you can see the examples there. You've already gone through interviews. You're in your final stage of a negotiation. You've done your external market research, and it shows that there's a salary range of 100 to 150K. And the recruiter is adamant that they want to know your salary. And we know that we don't want to tell them your salary because that's going to artificially, change your
benchmark.
Position.
Yeah, position. Absolutely. Thank you, Elba. So the scenario that has been portrayed here is in the chat and should be visible to you when you go into the break rooms to practice this role play. So Elba, I suppose we are all set.
Okay, well then here we go. I'm going to create, maybe we should just let's do, we'll do 9. That will be close. 9 breakout rooms. Here you go, everybody. Have fun. And Sarah's going to rotate through the rooms to kind of see how it's going. And this will last 16 minutes. So for 16 minutes, be on the lookout for when we're going to end, and then we'll come back and share. So good luck and practice, practice, practice. Bye. Okay, so everybody should be getting a message to go out into your breakout rooms. I see Catherine's still here. Catherine, do you want to join a breakout room? Ooh, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let me go back. I think I accidentally. Hi, everybody. For those of you who couldn't join us live, we are in the breakout rooms. I wanted to share with you a little bit more about ShowMe50 while we wait for the workshop to resume. The ShowMe50 approach is to create the motivation to act through events, advocacy, and collaborations. We want to inspire and help you guys out there, you employees, to really feel empowered to act. We also want to provide you with the ability to execute. We provide toolkits, workshops just like this one to provide some experiential learning. Right now, everybody's in a role play session. We enable the integration of inclusive leadership behaviors and the organic adoption of the 4 solutions that you see on the right. These 4 solutions have been proven to correct biases in systems: gender bias education, transparency, gender neutral flexibility, and executive commitment. As you heard, we also work closely with Lean In. In fact, this is a Lean In meeting. We combine both improving and enhancing women's skills and confidence with the right side, which is enhancing company policies and practices. We are powerful together. And so I hope that if you're enjoying these kinds of workshops, you'll consider finding out more about ShowMe50, helping us through volunteer opportunities, bringing the content to your workplaces to help influence the adoption of the 4 solutions. We will wait to get back after the breakout sessions. Hey, everybody. We still have a few people that are out there, so we'll give it another few seconds here. I can't wait to hear about how things went in the breakout rooms and to hear for a few more tips from Sarah and Sigra. Okay, so I think all the breakout rooms now are closed. So welcome back, everybody. I can't wait to hear how it went. So we had a total of 9 rooms out there. So let's try to go around and see who wants to cover kind of some takeaways or what you experienced in trying to do this practice. And I know that Sarah and Sigra, were you able to make some rounds into some of the rooms?
So Sarah did that. But I have some feedback from my conversation in the break room where I
Great.
was.
Okay,
I'll put that on. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's go ahead and start. I'll just ask, let's see, I'll go backwards, starting from group 9. So if you remember what group you were in, and if you were in group 9 and you want to chat about how it went and any observations, let's have somebody from group 9 speak if you want to. You don't have to. Okay, going once, going twice, group 9. Okay, let's go to group 8. Does group 8 have any comments or observations about the practice? And you know, I'm also very much
I have
open
a feeling
to,
we all forgot what group we're in.
oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
then in that case, forget the group numbers, out the door. We're flexible. Let's just go with anybody who wants to talk about their group. So how about if you raise your hand, then let's try to see if we can try to capture as many responses as we can. Okay, so is it Ghislaine?
Yes, it's Ghislaine. Nice to meet you, Paul.
Ghislaine,
Yes.
I love that. I love saying it, Ghislaine.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's a French name.
So tell us about your group.
So I was with Lane and another girl, but I forget her name because there was an incident with the internet. But Lane did it very well, I think. She negotiated a salary, talking about what she brings in terms of skills, in terms of that's also the responsibilities, the duties that she had for the moment can be transverse, can be extend to from local to regional. And I think I love what she said. It was very good.
Okay.
Yes.
And Lane, do you have any tips for how, where did you get your confidence? How did you, share with us so we can learn and do it better ourselves?
I think it's just from having to negotiate my salary quite a bit for like 10 years. So I've heard it all. I've heard I've gotten shut down in interviews by, HR saying things like, oh, you use the word I too much and that kind of thing. And them telling to my face like, oh, we feel like you're not ready for this role. So I think I just kind of have a tough skin. And my brother always said to kind of phrase things not from your point of view, but from the company's point of view. So if you can always say the company is going to benefit if, XYZ, then that's a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great little nugget, right? How can you turn your statement around from the point of view of the company or whatever the party is that you're working with? So, okay. Thank you, Lane and Ghislaine. Appreciate that. Who wants to go next to share something about their group and their observations? And Sarah, I don't know what group were you in, if you have any comments around things that you felt were, good examples, or just give us some more pointers based on what you observed.
I sat in on a really interesting conversation between Anita and oh shoot, I forgot the other name. I'm so sorry, but she was being very, very firm. The other gal was being very, very firm in saying, oh, we laid off a group of people. You'll be the third person on the team. You'll be doing the work of 10 people, basically. And Anita, bless her heart, just kept pushing back on that and pushing back and pushing back. And if you're interviewing for a job and maybe it seems too good to be true, you ask those hard questions. Find out. One big question I always ask: what happened to the person who did this job before me?
Oh, wow.
How did they exit? What were the expectations they didn't meet? And you can very quickly flush out some things, some unrealistic expectations, maybe some things that would set you up for failure right off the bat. And it was like I was telling, and I'm so sorry, it was Anita and Marta. Marta was the one pushing back, and she said, she said very clearly, like, so I'm going to be doing the work of 10 people. And then Anita kind of backed it off a little bit, but it's, you really need to not be afraid to ask the tough questions. And that's as big of a part of negotiation as anything, because if the working conditions aren't conducive to success, you don't want the job. It doesn't matter what it pays. That's not a good job.
Sarah, the tips that you gave about these questions to ask, that's so smart. Are there any books? I know last time you gave us the name of a book, but you don't have to, I'm putting you on the spot here, but maybe later you can give us some thoughts about some really good books or, workshops that help us improve our ability to learn and negotiate better. So be thinking about that one.
Sure thing, will do.
Put it in the chat. Okay, somebody else raised their hand. I'd love to hear what you experienced.
I think Kelly has raised her hand.
Kelly.
Yes. Good.
Kelly,
Good.
Gonter, go for it.
Yes. Okay. So I worked with Lauren, and she works at Lamar University in Texas. And the first thing I thought, okay, so our scenario was she was negotiating for a promotion. We chose that scenario. And she started off super enthusiastic and, demonstrated her total engagement with the company and what we were trying to do as an organization. She talked about her value. And then she also brought in the thing about, others in similar roles, are making this much more. And I've been doing this for 3 years, and, in that high, and, saying, absolutely, I love it. I love what I'm doing, but this is, basically what I'm asking for. And she just said it right out there. I want 30%, and then what I really appreciated was, because then I pushed back and I was like, yes, I understand. And we really value you. And we're so happy that you're on our team. But with the cost cutting that's going on, I don't know if this is going to work, and I said, and 30%, that sounds like a lot. I've got to go to my boss, and we got to go to compensation. We got to get all these approvals. And she said, I totally get that. She said, and I said, so you said something about your value. What kind of, can you give me some quantifiable numbers I can go to my boss with and say, this is what she's bringing to the table? And she said, oh, absolutely. I'll put that in an email. I'll give you the details in an email, so it'll be easy for you to present to your boss. And I'll provide the quantifiable results that I've, achieved with, revenue increases and, that I've gained, revenue gains that I've made, and that kind of thing. So that was excellent. And then I said, 30%, I don't know, that's a lot, probably it won't happen. I've never heard of anybody getting a 30% raise, and all this. And she said, well, so I said, is there any, negotiating there? Is there any flexibility with that? And she said, well, what we could do is I could put out, like maybe a stair-step schedule. I mean, I'm using my word, she worded it better, but stair-step schedule, so I demonstrate these results and it bumps up this much. And then I demonstrate these results and it bumps up this much, which I thought was a brilliant solution, that I could definitely see selling to my boss in compensation. So yeah, very well done.
That's great.
And then of course she said, I'll get you that email with all those details by 5 o'clock today. And I said, wow, that's a breath of fresh air right there. Promising with specific deadlines.
Specific deadlines.
That's great.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for sharing. Suzanne, you had your hand up, so let's go to you next. Suzanne Tommy.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I think what I was going to share was just very similar to what Kelly just described. My role was the we did the employee manager situation, and I was the employee. So a lot of the same things that Kelly touched on. The only thing I was going to add is my group is like, wow, I was the employee, and similar strategy that you just described. The only thing I was going to add is, for me, even though it was pretend, I felt nervous. So I think it was just remembering to stick to your points and what you said, like the brag sheet, I was keeping that in my head too. So even, even though it was pretend, it still gets nerve-wracking, even if you're pushing the person. So it's the only comment I had to add to what Kelly
No,
said.
it's absolutely true, Susan. I think any situation when you negotiate, whether you're negotiating with a vendor, whether you're negotiating with a client or a recruiter, it doesn't matter. There's a certain element of nervousness that all of us feel. And this is where the tools like brag sheet, thinking of what back and forth, sort of conversation that will take place and preparing for it beforehand really helps. Doing your due diligence and asking even people around, okay, so where do you think, in a negotiation, we can budge to what level, right? And in your personal context, it goes to what you are comfortable with. Instead of a salary, does it make sense to get maybe a bit better title because they're not budging, and that might help you later on in your career? Or is it something, can you ask for a benefit, as Sarah had mentioned earlier, whether it's flexible work, whether it's insurance, whether it's some sort of transport allowance, something that helps you achieve the goal that you're looking for. So yeah.
Sigrid, if I could add, because I was the manager with Susan, and one of the things that she said was like, that was really good. And that was because I kept saying, well, I'm going to get back to HR and I'll get back to you. And she said, great, well then let me send you my list of accomplishments, and I will copy HR as well. And I'll get back to you. And that was like, woo, she nailed it. I was like, oh my gosh, because most managers are like, that's their scapegoat, right?
I know, you're right.
Like, she nailed it by saying, great, and I'll copy HR too, so they're, aware of
they're aware. Yes.
Yeah. So
Because
really
sometimes you have that conversations and you don't know, has it actually made it to someone or not, right? So that's a brilliant move. Thank you. I'm going
to just so you all know, it's for me, I've negotiated many raises and I've negotiated salary with literally hundreds of candidates. But for me personally, stepping into my boss's office and I've got my little fact sheet and I've got my little salary comparables, still nerve-wracking. And I'm someone who loves negotiating to buy a car. I'm someone who loves negotiating with a vendor or any of these things. I'll tell you right now, I still get nervous because you're opening yourself up for rejection and criticism. And so just role play the conversation. A spouse, a friend, a family member, you can always get kind of the first, at least, layer of nerves out by having those conversations.
I love that, Sarah. So let's give the last word here because we're almost out of time. Lori has held her hand up. So Lori, go ahead.
Hi. I wanted to say on a couple of points, just especially off of some of the things that have just been said. It's interesting when you're talking to your boss to get your raise, there's no one better in the company able to say what a great job you did than that person, but their primary responsibility in that moment is to also get the best deal for the company. And so it's a tricky position for bosses to be in. And I think if you can acknowledge that when you're asking for a raise, I think that it's the whole Dale Carnegie, putting yourself in the other person's shoes. But I actually was in a situation, I chose to be the employee asking for the raise because I actually was in that situation for several years. And she did a great job. I was talking with Cecilia and she did a wonderful, wonderful job coming back to me, again, going to the HR. When she was going to set up a meeting to discuss it with HR, I asked to be involved in that meeting and to be present if possible. And I know sometimes they're going to go, oh, okay. But the other thing, a lot of employers I'm finding during this time are using COVID as the out for not giving raises and cutbacks. And I pointed out to her, I said, I realize that is a concern for you, but actually that supports my argument in case of a raise, because you've got someone that knows the company culture, is familiar with the organization, knows and supports your goals, is eager to take on the responsibilities that the promotion is going to bring. The cost of a company to go out and recruit, hire, and train a person is exceedingly more than the money that you're going to pay me in that raise. But you can have instant results versus that lag time of, can you even find a person if there's travel restrictions and social distancing and all these other things. This is a terrible time for a company to be going out there trying to do a job search when you've got a highly qualified, motivated candidate right there on your staff ready to take the position. Yeah. So it actually, you can flip that. If that's coming to you as an objection, you can come back and say, well, that's precisely why you should give me a raise, because I'm about to save you all kinds of time and money, not to mention the fact that I'm totally worth it.
Yeah,
beautifully said.
That's great.
Elba,
yeah.
just to add from one of the conversations, because I know you're going to close very soon, something to bear in mind, because there's still maybe a wall that you hit where you're asking for leadership, you're asking the feedback, and you're kind of not getting a specific answer, or you're not ready, you're very junior, you don't have the requisite experience. And one thing that can be done, if you're not getting it within your organization, you can volunteer in industry organizations, right? And build that network, build that rapport with other people in the industry, or bring that visibility. Sometimes internally it doesn't work, but when the organization sees that you are getting that validation externally, that can help you get forward in your career as well. So I just wanted to put it out there. And lean in, and again, is another safe way of doing this, where you want to practice your leadership, and go ahead with it. And
Yeah, thank you so much, Sigra. That's a great point, right? So let's not forget the importance of growing even beyond our own company, expanding your network, having those opportunities to practice and build future opportunities. So with that, we're out of time. I want to thank Sigra and Sarah and Suzanne Swan as well, our network leader. I want to mention that Sarah, clearly she's so skilled, and you heard, if you came to the first workshop, she did a marvelous job, and she's willing to do this for your companies as well, and for other groups. So please do reach out to her and reach out to me or her directly if you're interested in engaging with Sarah further. Also, I want to mention in the chat, we put the 2 books. There was a great idea on crucial conversations, and then also the one that Sarah suggested, Women Don't Ask, and what we give up when, the high cost of avoiding negotiation. So remember, we have to lean in and improve our own skill set. So this is a great place to go. So thank you all so much. And in closing, we are a volunteer organization. We are a nonprofit. So if you find this content helpful, the way you can help is volunteer, spread the word about ShowMe50, and give a small donation so that we can keep putting on this workshops and pay for our Zoom and everything else. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And I'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions. So my email is elba@showme50.org, elba@showme50.org. Please do send in your recommendations on content or any feedback that you have. We welcome it. So have a super day. Sarah, any closing remarks to give us some inspiration?
You know what? Everybody is just so far ahead of the pack by even attending this type of a group. You're doing it. You're already practicing. Keep having the conversations, lean in, and you'll get where you want to go.
Love it. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye, thanks.